Story Lord, and welcome back to my channel, aka Austin. And this episode is talking about no other than my boy Chucky. Now, Chucky. This episode of Chucky, episode 5, is called Doll to Doll. And there's a lot of references to dolls in this episode. I saw myself saying movie because, he's a movie icon to me. Chucky's a movie icon to me, so I stopped myself from saying movie. But anyways, in this episode, we go back to where Jake and Devin and Lexi are, and trying to figure out, is this good Chucky good for good, or he's still the same old Chucky because he's a Chucky? And to Jake, he's a good Chucky, and to Aldine, the new girl, he's a good Chucky. But to Lexi and Devin, they see that no matter what they see in this Chucky, he's still Chucky. He's still evil. He still might have some bad in him. So from there, we go to Jennifer Tilly, or AKA Jennifer Valentine. We go back to seeing Glenn dealing with the aftermath of the party. Basically, Jennifer Tilly's sister comes back, and then Jennifer Tilly's sister tries to talk to her. Remember those guys we dated back in the day and all that stuff? And then she didn't know how to answer her. She just blew it off and said, well, I gotta go check on some blah, blah. Well, with Glenda not saying nothing, Jennifer Tilly's sister not saying nothing, she goes to the secret room that she has in supposedly Jennifer Tilly's house, where she's keeping the real Jennifer Tilly in a cage in her doll form from Bride of Chucky. So we got the seed of Chucky and we got the Bride of Chucky full circle in this, because the first season was about Chucky, or AKA Charles Lee Ray, and his story, how he was a teenager to a young man to a kid, and bring you full circle to 1, 2, and 3 of Child's Play. This one brings you full circle to Seed of Chucky and Bride of Chucky. So as we see the real Jennifer Tilly in doll form from Bride of Chucky, Jennifer Valentine is basically telling her, look, you gotta sign all these, she's basically telling the fake Jennifer Tilly, look, I sign all these bills, I answer my own fan mail, I do all this stuff for you, and all I'm asking is for some food. The food she's asking for is chocolate. Simple chocolate. Just give me some chocolate. And she won't give her any chocolate. And then she went upstairs to go ask about those brothers her and her sister dated these two brothers. And then she goes back downstairs. And then we go back to that. So we go back to Devin and all them. So we open up with Devin, and we go back to Devin, Jake, and Lexi. We open up to that where Jake and Devin are outside of the principal's office, or AKA the priest's office, since it is a Catholic school. And you have Buff Chucky versus the good Chucky. Now, of course, you think the Buff Chucky will win this fight because, well, he's Buff Chucky. I mean, if you've seen the show, he's buff as hell. Like he's buff. So apparently, good Chucky gets the upper hand. They go toe to toe. They fight and go toe to toe. Jake and Devin have an argument, like how Devin doesn't know who Jake is anymore. That Jake is more interested in seeing the fight, who wins that fight. So good Chucky ends up winning that fight by looking at a crucifix of Jesus on the wall, and he does the same thing to Buff Chucky, and end up killing Buff Chucky. But we all know that Chucky, but even if it's Buff Chucky, good Chucky, General Old Chucky, which that's what he calls him. So that's what they're calling this one Chucky, the General. This generally old Chucky, he always comes back. So supposedly right now he's dead. Then Jake and Devin have an argument. The priest that looks like Jake's dad, which is the priest this time, sees like they have an argument before he comes in. They have an argument about if this Chucky's good or not. Devin says this Chucky's not good. I don't think he's good. Jake's like, I think he's good. I'm just gonna, and then he walks out of the room with the good Chucky. So Devin gets caught with by the priest, gets caught by the priest, by the Chucky on the wall that looks like a crucifix, and he's like, that's blasphemy, blah, blah, blah. He sends him to the chapel to read one of the scriptures in the Bible. Of course, we see him ripping stuff out because we know, as you know from the show, if you were seeing it, he's really not going to read that because his character is gay. So, yeah, they go from there, and then you go from Lexi with Eldine trying to tell Lexi you don't need to take those drugs because the drugs help her get over that because, Chucky killed her boyfriend and all that stuff. And then she tells a story about her mother giving her 4 gerbils and all that stuff. 5 gerbils, and then the 5th gerbil was the only one alive. And then she passed out and drunk, her mother, and then she came hug and she said, I'm sorry. She tells Eldine sorry. And then from there we go back to Jennifer Tilly, the fake Jennifer Tilly. And then she goes down and tells Jennifer Tilly's sister about those brothers. And then they talk about how they were on the run trying to give money for the orphanage and all this other, and they get running with the cops, and then they end up still giving money to the orphanage. Well, basically, she gave her the plot to Blues Brothers. I was shocked when I was watching it. When I was literally, this is the only time I want to in this review that I will be like not telling the story of this episode. I was shocked when that happened because that's the Blues Brothers. And also what's shocking is when Glinda goes downstairs to talk to her mom about about her and Glenn and Glinda and all that stuff. And who's Jennifer Valentine. She's still watching, the fake Jennifer Tilly is still watching the same scene of Liar Liar where Jennifer Tilly's trying to get custody for the kids and Liar Liar. She's still watching that same scene. Like, seriously, they should pay Jim Carrey some royalty money for playing that, because I know they already paid Jennifer Tilly because they have Jennifer Tilly in the show. Just you gotta pay Jim Carrey, right? Pay him, now he's in Chucky lore, so pay him. Anyways, they get an argument about that, but basically, I was shocked when they mentioned Blues Brothers because her sister's like, yeah, that's the plot to Blues Brothers, and then she goes back upstairs, and Glenn and her sister, Glenn and Jennifer Tilly's sister go follow her to that secret room, and they find out that they're keeping a doll, and Glenn is like, what's going on here? Well, basically, before the doll says, look, I'm Jennifer Tilly, I'm the real Jennifer, the doll says, I'm the real Jennifer Tilly, and da-da-da, and the sister sees that that's her sister as the doll, and then Valentine starts killing Jennifer Tilly's sister, and then she tells Glenn that I am Jennifer Valentine, I'm your mother. I'm not going to say what other things she said. You can watch the episode to find out what she says. After that, I'm your mother, blah, blah, blah. And there's that story from there. So Jake and Devin are still struggling about this good Chucky, and then Devin goes to good Chucky and says, you killed my mom, you killed her boyfriend, you killed all his Jake's family. He runs to the bathroom. That good Chucky runs to the bathroom. He's like, then Jake runs after him like, did I do all those things? Yes, but that was a different Chucky and all that stuff. And what if and then that Chucky's like, what if I'm still bad? What am I still gonna, do evil? So, a subplot of that, we go back to the priest, and the priest is like, look, get rid of this Chucky, and tells one of the nuns to get rid of it, and then we just keep a close eye on these children on this, and they think one of the nuns just think this is a harmless prank because Devin's a troubled child. So there's that. So there's that part, and then the nun that was supposed to get rid of that put the buff Chucky in the trash. As we go back to fake Jennifer Tilly, now that Glenn knows everything, she gives him or her, doesn't matter, the doll from the Seed of Chucky, the actual Glenn and Glenda doll, and she says, this looks just like me. Yes, it does. What about Glenda? It's also his too, so let's go tell them. And there's like, yeah, she's like, Jennifer tells her, let's go tell them. So she burns down Jennifer Tilly's house. Don't know why. I know she's the fake Jennifer Tilly, and she's already said that she's a Valentine. She burns down Jennifer Tilly's house, but that's a perfect good house for if Jennifer Tilly ever gets out of the doll body to live in. At least for this franchise. I know that she's not actually living in the house, but as the fantasy version of herself, she can live in that house. I don't know why burn it down, but anyways, they're on the road to find where Glenda is at with Kyle and Nika, aka / Chucky. So yeah, from there, Devin and Lexi find the pictures on the phone of the Chucky graveyard, the Chucky haunted graveyard woods, and they go travel through that woods. They see a whole bunch of dead Chuckies. They see Andy alive. Of course, again, if you don't die in a horror movie, you're still alive. So they see Andy in this cabin, wood cabin, because these doll parts lead them to this cabin, and then they see one of the nuns that are supposed to working for the school with Andy and other victims from the church that died in that cabin. But she's calling out to Charles, but he said that's General Charles to you, and he's bald. So the original Chucky that's giving out orders to these other Chuckies is the original Chucky from Child's Play, but he's bald. He looks different from everyone else. Now, he looked like he had hair on his face, but I don't know if that's just something he had over his neck or whatever, but I don't know if he had a beard or not, but he's bald. So the original Chucky that's doing all these orders are bald, and that's pretty much in the episode till next week, where that old nun says Charles is going to get every single one of you. He's going to kill every single one of you. And the buff Chucky reveals himself to that one nun he threw in the trash, and that she thinks is, spiritual, that he risen himself up. And he's like, yeah, it didn't even take me 3 days. They already used that joke, but it was funny. But that's been this week's Chucky episode, Doll to Doll, meaning that there's buff Chucky versus good Chucky, and Jennifer Tilly doll and Glenn doll, all in the same kind of reference. So there we go. This is the episode. If you like this video, hit like, subscribe, hit notification bell, leave a comment. You know you're here, and please like and subscribe. I know the other videos I did with the Blu-ray update video and the love letter to Top Gun and Halloween, I don't think I said like and subscribe, but for those videos, also like and subscribe them, please. So, see you guys later in the next video.